Yeah. Oh, we are. All right, we're live on Red here. Welcome everyone to this Pittsburgh City Commission meeting, Tuesday, August 9th, 2022. Please join me in the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. I'd like to welcome Pete Mayo from Ascension Via Christi for the invocation tonight.
Thank you. Yeah, I'd like to offer a little prayer to get us started, if that's all right for public input. Let us pray. Gracious and loving God, we thank you for the many blessings you provide for our Pittsburgh community. Be with us this evening. Assist the people you have called to lead our community in which we live and work and play. Grant our leaders the wisdom and courage to know and do what is right and good. Preserve us all through the dangers of threatening weather, contagious disease, and political discord. Assist us to speak out when it is time to speak out and listen receptively when it is time to listen. May our thoughts and words be guided by care for the common good, our community, justice, and love. This we pray in the name of all that we hold sacred and holy. Amen.
Thank you, Pete. Have a good evening.
Thanks, Pete.
Y'all too. Well, while I'm up here, I do have a question. I see on here, Emergency Solutions Grant, Kansas Housing Resource Corporation. I'm just wondering, what will we do with that? And I'll just throw that out there, okay?
We'll answer it probably in this meeting. Thanks.
Okay.
Yes, sir. All right. Moving on to public input. If there's anyone who would like to come forward and speak, please state your name, your address, and you have 5 minutes.
I think that was my cue.
Sure.
I'm Angela Meyer. My office address is 1315 North Broadway. Forgive me, I live in Arma. So I wanted to give you a little update. I am the president of the Little Balkans Committee. We are excited. August the 29th, we start our week-long festival for its 37th year. We are in the final home stretch. Passports are the new buttons. So if you're used to seeing a 3-inch button, we now offer $5 donation passports. They fit in your wallet, in your purse. They're a little business card size. And we're offering, if you attend 4 passport events, you are entered to win a $500 cash prize donated and sponsored by MPIX. So you can buy passports all through town. Ron's, the Chamber, Celebrations by Lori, the Credit Union, my office. You can even get them online on our website. And if you go back to the place you purchased them or find a passport event, you can drop that passport off and be entered to win either a $500 prize if you attend at least 4 or $100 from in Chamber bucks. So that's the big exciting spin on Little Balkans. We have a cooking school for the first time. So Monday, August the 29th, we're having our first annual hands-on cooking school, where we're going to teach knife skills, thanks to Katie Sweezy, German slaw, tiramisu, pasta from scratch, and some time-saving recipes as well. I hear there might be a little wine pairing that might happen with it. That'll be at Guadalupe Hall. People can sign up for free as long as they have a passport on Eventbrite. But we have 17 seats filled as of tonight for 30 seats available. So home stretch there. Train rides are still happening as usual. Cookbooks are still for sale. We're hoping to roll out a new one next year. Embroidery boot camp, if you've never learned how to embroider. Debbie Walker with the Quilt Guild is teaching that on Tuesday night. Wednesday night is all things Chamber and PSU with Paint the Town Red. Thursday night's a home football game, and then the car show and Drag the Gut happens Friday night. We have a ton of events on Saturday. I think we're up to 50 craft vendors roughly, and they keep coming in by 5 and 10 at a time every day. The website and the email is blowing up, but we're going to take vendors up until probably the Friday before, just because Lincoln Park's a great space and we can always find a little grassy patch to put the next vendor. So that's exciting. We've rolled out an online payment feature for our vendors so they can sign up online and pay online. It makes things easier. The big attraction is we partner with Cox Communication and the Memorial Auditorium, and we have the Ozark Mountain Daredevils on their 50th anniversary tour live in Memorial. That is, in and of itself, probably the biggest act that I recall we've had in Pittsburgh as far as with the festival. Cox Communications really stepped up to make that happen. There's hope that next year we can just keep that momentum going and expand that. But I have to say, the opening act to me is a local act, but as entertaining and going to be a phenomenal opener. It's John Bartlow and Jamie Ortolani, Larry Douglas, well-known names in the area, but there's also one of their members played with the Kinks. One of their members played with Leonard Skinner. So we have a really cool opening act called the Mokan All-Stars that are going to open for the Daredevils, but we're hoping to pack Memorial. We keep putting the word out. It's first come, first serve seating. Doors open at 5:30. Bring some water if it's warm to stand in line. We're not reserving seats. We're not holding seats. Chris Patterson has really kind of strategically and logistically figured out how we're going to let all of those people in. We've sold a ton of passports online already. The band plays the following weekend with the Springfield Symphony for their big concert of their 50th anniversary tour, and those tickets are significantly higher priced than our $5 passport. So we're excited that it's free, essentially, with a $5 passport for the community to attend all of the festival events and to get into the concert. And then Sunday, we have the polka dance and chicken dinner still at the mall with Johnny Joe Zebert. And then we close out the festival with a fishing derby where Backyard Discovery has graciously donated a play set to give away to one of the kids. Lance Turpin, who runs Cafe Del Rio, heads that up. And he has managed to make sure that every kid always goes home with something. He gets coupons from all the local businesses so they can bowl for free or go to Hardee's for snacks. There's kayaks and fishing poles, and kids just show up, and he manages, if they don't have a pole, he takes care of it. If they don't have bait, he takes care of it. So that it's a really cool, inclusive experience for kids at Lakeside Park. And then Sunday night is at the Band Dome, and we have Duke Mason and Stone Country. So thank you so much to the city for the help. Toby's my go-to guy, that it takes nothing to call and say, hey, Toby, can we? And he always makes it happen. The PD's always very supportive and involved. We've gotten smarter about how we coordinate things with the city resources to make sure it's as low footprint as we can make it for the city, because you graciously let us use the space and let the community use the space. And then we have new sponsors. Every year we get a couple more businesses that really support this. So we've done our utmost to make it the biggest year we've had. We've also done it the most to make sure the community has a super low price point to be involved and partake in it. So that's the update.
Well, thank you so much. Jam-packed
It is.
excitement.
It is. We've tried really hard to keep the week-long model. That's the plan moving forward, is to leave it for a full week and see if we can keep it that way.
Hopefully so. Everyone come out and enjoy it.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for coming.
Angela, how
Thanks.
many years have you been running the show?
I think it's 7 this
Well,
year.
thank you for
I
all
keep,
of
Thank
it.
I
you.
keep trying to say, don't you want some? And they're like, no.
Well, thank you.
You're
Thank
doing
you.
such a good job. Thank you so
Well,
much.
I have a lot of help from all of different aspects of the community, but Toby and Kim and Joe and the PD really make it easy, because we get to say, hey, can we do? And they're like, I think we can. Let's figure it out. Even Henry's pitched in this year, because we're going to have a carnival for the first time in I don't know how long. It's a small company out of Monette. We're finishing the contract. One lawyer may have sent it to the other lawyer and went, hey, did I miss anything? So I think we're down to the home stretch with that. Wristbands for it are already on sale, so we're just getting the paperwork finished up.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you. Thank you.
All right, is there anyone else who would like to speak?
Tom Westhoff, 1305 Bittner Terrace. I just want to talk about the excessive traffic due to the Quincy closing through Bittner Terrace addition. Cheryl lives down there and Henry lives on there too, but I walk my dogs all the time, and I can count, about 4 or 5 times I've been ran over since this has happened. There's people that don't know the speed limit through there, don't know the road. You got people going around the loop. They don't know which way to go. My daughter about got hit today. She called me crying. I mean, we got to figure something out here. They need to either close that thing down at the bridge by the radio station or something, because I see tons of Missouri tags going through there. That's not local traffic. So I don't know what we need to do, ticket people, is that an option? I mean,
Well, at the present time, I agree with you, I once lived in East Hills. Because of the water main problem we got right now, we can't go any other way if we close that off, the only way we have to go is to go up to the next mile section, take a right, go a mile, come back down to Broadway. Or, we can't, there's no other way to go right now. Until that water main area is repaired, which I'm hoping it'll be in the next, because I've had no water all day, but I'm hoping it's tonight or tomorrow, then we have a way to get over to 4th Street without any problem. And then at that point, I could see shutting things down, but for the time being, they're just, we're stuck.
well, can we get some officers maybe to go
Hopefully,
through there?
during non-agenda reports and requests, we'll ask Matt to come up and
Okay.
at least tell us what he's got.
Like I said, it's bad. I saw 3 moving trucks go through there last night that have no business going through there. And heavy equipment trucks, I mean,
And I agree with you, because I've seen the same thing going through there, because I've gone through a number of times.
yeah.
But, it's, and
Well, not
people,
to have a plan in place.
people are roaring
to start
through there
this
also,
is not
so.
a good start, in my opinion.
Okay.
So,
Well,
Also,
wait, I think what we'll do is, I appreciate everybody's input, but I think under non-agenda reports and requests, we'll bring Matt back up, and if you stick around, we can hopefully come up with a plan.
thank you, guys.
All right, thank you, Tom. All right, is there anyone else who'd like to speak? All right, seeing none, I'll close public input. Are there any items to be removed from the consent agenda? Okay, I'm going to do C, D, and E. All right, so item A, approval of July 26, 2022 City Commission meeting minutes. Item B, approval of the application submitted by Kyle Mullen for a dance hall license for Fifth Street Bar and Grill located at 111 and 113 West Fifth Street, and authorize the city clerk to issue the license. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve item A and item B.
Okay, motion by Chuck,
Second.
Second?
second by Ron. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign, motion passes. All right. Item C, approval of the fire department staff request to declare 9 sections of soft suction hose, 3 rapid intervention team packs, 1 Stokes basket, 1 hydraulic rescue tool set, 1 airbag control kit, 2 sets of rescue jacks, and 3 fog nozzles as surplus, and authorize staff to donate the items to the local volunteer fire departments. Good evening, Chief.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Commissioners. As my staff report says, this equipment has been replaced on our apparatus by new upgraded equipment, and we're seeking permission to dispose of this property similar to the way we did the last time we had surplus equipment. We'll make it available to the Crawford County Volunteer Fire Departments. And that's basically our plan.
Okay, yeah, I'd like to make a motion to donate these items to the Crawford County Firefighters Association, and then at that time, when they have distributed them to their departments, they would give us a report back to where the items went.
Very fine.
So, thank you for that, I appreciate that. I'd like to make a motion to donate that.
I have some questions.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
So I know in the past we've donated, but are any of these things, do we need to keep in terms of having something there in case, okay,
I don't believe so.
okay, that's what I need is your opinion, yeah.
Anyone else?
Just say,
Harry?
procedurally, we need to vote on C before we can move on to
Okay,
a different motion
okay, so
if the commission so
vote, like, made a motion to,
proceed. Yeah, if
approve.
anyone wants to make
Okay,
a
and
motion
then,
to approve C.
do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Well, I'm confused.
Yeah, kind
You made a motion that was different than what's on the paper, I think is his point.
Yeah, we need to vote on the
Oh,
motion. that's
excuse
on
me,
it.
Yeah.
okay,
If there's a motion and a second to approve it.
okay, so
basic-
as it states, make the motion to donate the items to local volunteer fire departments. That would be my motion. And,
So you're approving the motion that's on the
Yes.
sheet, okay. Okay.
so, Motion by me, second by Chuck. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Very good, thank you for your
Thank you,
time.
Chief. I appreciate that
Yes,
so
ma'am.
much.
Thanks, Chief.
All right. Item D, approval of staff recommendation to accept an emergency solutions grant from the Kansas Housing Resources Corporation in the amount of $107,837 to support homeless services within our community for the grant period of July 1st, 2022 through June 30th of 2023, and authorize the mayor to sign the appropriate documents on behalf of the city.
Hi, good afternoon. So I'm Megan Keener. I run the Housing Authority. So what questions?
Well, I didn't have any questions, but
Okay.
I hear today's your birthday, and we
It
wanted to
is.
surprise you and tell you happy birthday.
Yeah, it is my birthday, yes.
Megan is the housing manager for the city of Pittsburgh, and I just wanted to wish you a happy birthday, and please, we wanted you to know you do a great job, and tell your staff also that we appreciate them.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. But to answer his question, we
Yes.
do help individuals that are homeless or about to become homeless. We try to house them, give them some rental assistance for about 3 months, and some utility deposit and rental deposits. So that's what we try to do with that grant. And then we also partner with the Wesley House.
So if anyone has any questions, what number can they call your office?
620-232-1210, and ask for myself because I am also the case manager. So,
Yes, ma'am.
okay?
Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Happy
Thank
birthday.
you. I appreciate it.
I move to approve.
Oh, yes. So we have a motion by Don to approve, seconded by Stu. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. All right. Item E, approval of the appropriation ordinance for the period ending August 9th, 2022, subject to the release of HUD expenditures when funds are received. I will be recusing myself due to conflict on this.
Move to approve.
Motion by Don,
Second.
second by Stu. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes.
Was that,
Or, it's,
For roll call,
that's not a roll call, is it, Henry? No, it's not a roll call. All right, so it was 4 to recuse, okay. Moving on to special presentation. 2023 revenue neutral rate and 2023 budget. City Manager Darren Hall and Director of Finance Larissa Bowman will provide information regarding the intent to exceed the revenue neutral rate for the 2023 budget and the 2023 budget for adoption. Public hearings will be scheduled for September 13th, 2022, as prescribed by law, to be held in the City Commission Room located in the Law Enforcement Center at 201 North Pine at 5:30 PM regarding the intent to levy a property tax exceeding the revenue neutral rate for the 2023 budget and the adoption of the 2023 budget. Good evening, Larissa.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. 2 weeks ago, Darren submitted the 2023 budget to all of you, and tonight we're just here. We'd like to answer any questions you may have regarding the budget or the revenue neutral rate.
Want me to quiet him?
Yeah, please.
Hey, Dustin. Dustin, can you guys take it through the doors or?
Thank you.
Sorry.
All right. Does anyone have any questions? Stu or Dawn, any?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, go ahead.
So on page 20, when we talk about the 2023 submitted budget summary under positions, the 2022 submitted budget is approximately 15 million in personnel costs. What percentage of our total budget would that be?
That is around, that's about 30 to 40%.
Okay.
It is.
Is there an industry standard for municipalities or?
Not for municipalities.
Okay.
No.
Okay. You want me to keep going?
Or if you like, yeah.
I mean,
Go right ahead.
I only have one other. I just wanted to, it really isn't a question. I just wanted to continue to applaud and thank the city for their their approach to health insurance. I mean, I think probably you would be considered a leader in terms of how we've handled it, the reserves, and not having a premium increase for employees. So I know it's a lot of work because we do it at our place, and just wanted to compliment you and thank you.
Thank you. We have a great staff that runs that, so thanks.
That's all I have right now.
All right.
Are we, Darren, are you gonna talk also?
Yeah, but last time I stood up there next to her, so I told her I would just sit this time while I understand up there. But yes, I'll answer any questions you have.
Could you explain to us, or one of you explain to us what the neutral rate is?
Yeah.
You want me to take that? Okay. So the revenue neutral rate is a new thing. This is our second year into it. And so what it is the county sets a rate, and what it is what it would be the same amount of taxes collected from the previous year that we collected. So the county told us ours was 48.283 for this year, so that would be to collect the same taxes we collected last year.
And that's set by the state?
The county sets that.
The county sets it,
Uh-huh.
okay.
It's through Senate Bill 13 is where that's coming. Senate Bill 13, so
Okay.
it came through the legislation.
So the revenue that they're referring to is the revenue that's generated by the property tax that goes into the city's general fund. And there's two pieces to that. There's assessed valuation, and then there's the actual mill rate. You have the power to set the mill rate. The assessed valuation is a figure that's given to us by the county. Those two together give you your revenue neutral rate, which is if everything was equal to last year, the assessed valuation was exactly the same, and you didn't change the mill rate, then we would have no increase in the revenue neutral rate, and there would be no postcards, and there would be no hearing. But as in every year, we try to leave the mill rate the same. The last 2 years, the assessed valuation actually went down. We didn't increase the mill rate to make up for it. We just kind of wrote it out. This year, the assessed valuation has gone up, and so we would be required to actually take it down to that 48 figure in order to have that revenue neutral rate be the same as it was last year. And because the budget that I've submitted to you recommends that we actually leave the mill rate the same and recognize that $470,000 worth of property tax towards our budget, we will be required to send, if you guys continue with that idea, we will be sending out these postcards. The county will include us in the postcard, and we will have that hearing on September 13th.
Does that take inflation into account?
Keeping the mill levy the same?
Well, like with that Senate Bill 13,
Oh, no, that is not.
It doesn't?
No, it's just the same amount of taxes that were collected the previous year.
Do you have any idea what the inflation rate is in Crawford County?
In Crawford County, I do not. I know the national reports are 9%. I don't know if we know any numbers.
About 9% nationally, yeah.
It may be declining a little because gas prices are a big part of that, and they are coming down, but I don't think it's any lower than 8.
And also, I understand from reading here and there that the wage rate has increased by 22% in Crawford. Is it Crawford County or Pittsburgh?
Crawford County, the median wage.
The median rate,
Yes.
median rate is 22%. So people are actually ahead right now a bit of inflation. Is that correct? Depends on how you look at it, I suspect.
If at your house, theoretically in Pittsburgh, your wages have gone up on an average of 22%, Jay, is that Blake's shaking his head? So, yeah, in addition to that, your property has also now gone up 6.59%. So in theory, the property that you own is worth more, and you should be earning more, but yes, additional, that's two good things, and then obviously, with those kind of situations, your property tax is expected to go up a little bit as well, so that's kind of the whole picture.
That 6.95 is what you said?
6.59.
6.59, that's an average of the assessed valuation on property that went up, right?
That's the valuation increase that we saw from last year.
So
So, yeah, it varies between each homeowner.
some assessed valuation probably went up 10, 12%. Mine went up 13%.
Did you, okay.
So, on the assessed valuation, since it went up, is this the largest total assessed valuation in a long time for the city?
The largest total, yes. We did have, it looks like in 2017, we had an 8% change increase. That was when the casino came on. But as this would be our highest valuation to date.
So, all right, I got that. So, getting back to the net neutral. Net neutral is 48 mills, and if we leave the mill alone right now, and you take 51.636 mills and the assessed valuations went up to, well, you times, assessed valuations in 148, 125, 457, correct?
140
For 2022?
total, 143. After, we have to take out the neighborhood revitalization program and the RIDS. So after that, it'd be a total of 143 million.
143 what?
143,208,170.
So our increase is on page 27. So we will net, if we do not reduce the mill to not capture the growth, we'll net 457,269.
Correct. Yes.
Well, I know we're not voting on it tonight, but I know we might be looking at exceeding the revenue neutral rate for the 2023 budget and for the 23 budget for adoption. I'm not comfortable at this time with the mill rate at 51,636. But this is a decision we'll have to make in September 13th. Hopefully, we can come to some sort of agreement, maybe, that I know the city's cost has increased like everyone else's, and we need to exceed the revenue neutral rate to try to make up for some of that cost. But everyone's cost has been increased in the city of Pittsburgh. And I know another thing we've done, we've increased their water and wastewater rates. And I agree with that because we got a new wastewater plant to build. But I just hopefully we can come to some agreement that we maybe got less of a burden on our taxpayers when we make a decision September 13th on what the mill rate might be for the 2023 budget.
If you have from a quick calculation, if you have a $100,000 house, you're gonna see about a $32 rate increase. So you can calculate from that, where you're gonna be, or approximately where you're gonna be, which is, as I look at it, I think that if we decrease the rate now, at what point can we increase the rate?
And the gap will be higher.
The gap will be higher.
I understand your guys' opinion, but this is mine. And,
Yeah, I know, I'm just saying that,
We want a
you know.
discussion here.
But fine, yeah. It's fine.
I mean, that's what will happen, is if we don't keep up and capture the growth, which is a reasonable growth in my opinion, in terms of just, the 457,000, about $3 a month for a $100,000 home. Not reasonable for everyone, I understand Chuck's point, but if we don't capture it this year, we continue to have growth and a good economy in Pittsburgh, might be more next year. And at some point, the services we provide for a growing community, they have to come from our revenue streams, and one of them is property tax.
Either you raise the mills or you capture the growth. And I don't think anybody wants to raise the mills, so.
Well,
no,
we will have to raise it above the net neutral mill. That's what you're talking about, right?
No.
We might eventually, we're not recommending that, or I'm not
The
recommending
question,
that now.
another way of looking at it is the 457,000 is the amount that has gone up this year, if we recognize it. That's roughly 3 mills. The point is, if you don't capture that as you go and you continue to lower the mill, all you're doing, and the purpose of the legislation, quite frankly, is just, we're never going to grow. It's only a formula that would just keep you, somebody would just say that whatever we're making this year is what we should make forever. The whole concept is when it goes down, we try to stabilize and not raise the mill and live with it. And when it goes up, we capture it because it isn't just the wastewater treatment plant. It's literally all of the chemicals for running all of the utilities departments. Everything is up 8 or 9%. And this is a small increase. It's not something we want to do, but we are supposed to run a financially sound organization, and the way you do that is by this formula. You can't do that if you don't recognize the growth when you get it. The reason we do most of the things we're doing, the reason you allowed us to add 4 positions to the budget during the year is because the maintenance is out there, the town's growing, and we need to keep up with it, and the costs are only going up. But it is difficult, whether you make, whatever you make, it's still $3 a month that you could have to do something else with. And so Chuck's point's a great one, but our recommendation has got to be, we're looking at $2.8 million increase in costs over last year. And we think recognizing $457,000 is consistently something we're going to try to recommend from year to year.
2.8 million. Is that what?
That's the number she gave me.
Yeah. I mean, we're seeing those kind of increases from our current budget to the next budget. So, I mean, that's our inflation that we're experiencing at the city. And we did the pay study, and we added 4 positions. So personnel alone grew 7%.
Which needed to happen.
Tough questions.
Any other questions?
Anyone? Okay. All right, so we'll have the public hearing on September the 13th, 2022. And
Yes, and the budget is also on the city website for anyone in the public, and they can also come to City Hall and request a copy.
okay,
So
thank you so
We'll have our
much.
hearing on September 13th. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Good job, Alyssa.
All right. Consider the following. Item A, variance, 2306 Moretta Drive. Consider the recommendation of the Planning Commission, Board of Zoning Appeals to approve a variance request submitted by Douglas Schroeder to allow a garage over 900 square feet at 2306 Moretta Drive. Pete, good evening.
I drew the short straw. Mayor and council. This is the garages we're looking at. The variance is due to it's 900 square feet is the maximum. Without a variance, this is a 1,200 square feet. You can see the property is considerably large enough to handle that additional coverage. The Planning Commission were unanimous to allow the variance. He did agree to put in drainage along the edge of the garage to make sure that the water drained. It's kind of upside down to you guys, maybe. Back to the creek, which is to the south. What the 215 number is, that's the creek back there, so he'll make sure that everything off this new garage does drain back to the drainage area to the south. That. Any questions?
Is that ditch in place?
I'm sorry,
Has he
what?
put the ditch in?
No, he's gonna be doing that as part of the garage.
Because I do know that the landowner to the south was concerned because of the extra water that is already coming onto her land, so. Because he's done some sort of a driveway skinned off the grass in the front of the house, and that's caused some extra runoff too.
Yeah. Right, so that was part of what Dexter had talked to him about, that when he builds the garage, as he builds up the base, the flooring, that he'll bring in and build a swale to take that water back to the creek, or to the drainage back there.
And that's the pond that's back there that's been a problem for years.
Yes.
That's where the drainage goes right now, and continues down through that direction, yeah.
Where are we at on that issue?
What issue?
The drainage.
Drainage going into the pond that floods, a property owner's property out there, have there been, I know they was in talks with him on what can be done. Is there an update of anything that's been done out there or can be done to?
I think we had a whistle. Matt was working on a few things, but
This is where we're working with the county.
It's still in the county's court right now, with the county side of the properties over there. They're still working with landowner and some easements. It's designed and everything like that, and I checked in with the county just 2 weeks ago, just kind of seeing where they're at, and really they they've got that, but they're still working through some stuff. So we went back in there and cleaned some brush. The county's gonna come in and do some, they're still planning on getting in there while it's dry and trying to open a little bit of that pit back up on that part. But then as far as the pipe under the road, it's all designed, but they're still in talks with the property owners on their side of the road, so.
So was that property owner at the planning zoning and spoke in opposition, or was anybody there to speak in opposition of this?
There was nobody there to speak in
All right.
opposition.
All right.
And this is not for commercial use, right?
No, it's not.
Any more questions?
Make
All right, do I have a motion to approve?
a motion to approve.
Motion by Chuck, second by Ron. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. All right, item B, conditional use permit, 1609 North Walnut. Consider the recommendation of the Planning Commission Board of Zoning Appeals to approve a conditional use permit request submitted by Alberto Oxlog to allow church to operate at 1609 North Walnut.
This is, again, it's a church that actually been in operation for a couple years. They came in for a sign permit, and we found out that they didn't have a permit to actually be there.
Oh, that's what I thought, there was already a church there, yeah, okay.
Come up.
Churches are pretty much allowed in just about any district. They just have to get a permit to do so. And so it's just a conditional use permit. So they've applied for that. The zoning board approved it unanimously to allow the church to be in this area. The only one there was the owner of the building, and he spoke for it, encouraging them to allow them to continue in their operation at that location.
I would move to approve.
Hold on one second. Yes. As far as conditional use for churches, as long as it's not in a residential neighborhood where the parking is a factor, correct?
Right, I mean, there's some conditions, and that has to do with the parking.
Yeah.
And obviously, you have to be so far away from things like alcohol and.
But I think the parking was the big one from before. I remember there was one that was on West 20th that the neighbors
Right.
were all for it, but the parking was the issue and.
Correct.
And that one didn't go through, so, okay. Got a motion by Dawn. Do I have a second?
I second it.
Seconded by Chuck. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes. Thank you, Pete.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. All right, item C, Mid-City Renaissance Area Environmental Assessment Contract. Consider staff recommendation to approve a contract between the City of Pittsburgh and SCS Engineers in which SCS Engineers will provide assessment and analytical services that will assist in defining the environmental conditions in the Mid-City Renaissance area.
Mayor and Commissioners.
Good evening, Jay.
Glad to finally move forward on some of this work. This is work that has been approved through a grant with the EPA. Earlier this year, you approved an agreement with KDH&E to help us coordinate this. One of those benefits of that agreement was that it allows us to have access to the contractors that the state uses for environmental work. And SCS was one of those. KDH&E put out a proposal for the work that was defined for this grant, and SCS really gave us the best proposal, and our job is to contract with them to perform the work. This is related to the.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I was looking at it going, I think that.
I don't think that, it's kind of hard to see. Can you kind of outline with your
Yes.
something or other?
That's what I was going to suggest.
Yeah.
Or you can just trace it even.
It is a little hard to see. You can see the dotted line there. That's just north of that dotted line is some of the points where they're going to be testing. There's some other points in the area along there that, again, hard to see, but it's in your packet. A map is in your packet. And you can kind of see where the testing is. The KDH&E worked with the consultant to decide where the testing should take place.
So the numbers that are on here are the testing sites?
Right.
Okay. Are these sites on that property, Jay? Do you have permission to be on that property?
We do not have permission to be on Mission Clay's property. So what you're looking at are sites all within right-of-way surrounding that property.
Right.
And there are some that are north of the Dickey Clay site,
That's
correct? Like
That's
on-
true. This actually is, the grant was to do assessment for the Mid-City Renaissance District, which I'd like to, I made a map of that. See if I can put that out. Here's the Mid-City Renaissance District map. See if I can get this one right. There we go. That looks right. This is the outlined area in red is the Mission Clay, is the Mid-City Renaissance area. Now, that was defined through an area-wide planning grant that we got from the EPA several years ago. And the results of that grant look like this. This is the area-wide plan. Let's see if I can get this in, all that in there. This is the area-wide plan that resulted from that previous grant. And this is an idea or concepts for reuse of that whole mid-city area.
And Jay, what kind of, they're doing several kinds of testing, aren't they? Testing water, soil, they're probing?
Right.
I mean,
There's actually some surface testing. There's some testing of the creek that's there. They're boring into the ground as well. Several different kinds of tests. They're testing for several different kinds of material. They're testing for petroleum-based products as well as some heavy metals.
Can you go back to that map you had before?
This one?
Yeah, well, yeah, it's very hard to see, but outside of that area, especially with the map you had after it, I see over there on Site 10 on 2nd Street over there, and then north on the 9 and the 8 up on the top. That is still in the area, even though it's outside the box that you just showed on the other piece of?
The KDH&E consider that still within the area.
Okay, okay.
So what happens with the test results? What's the next step?
Well, obviously, they send it to a lab, they analyze it, and make a determination. If there's hazardous material, that gets reported to the EPA, and the EPA and KDH&E work together with us to decide, what should be done with that.
Mitigation.
And this testing, is it different than the ones in the past where the smelters were in different parts of the city, that they dug up the ground and they replaced the soil and they did all the testing?
Well, this is just the testing part. We're not going to actually remediate anything,
Oh,
right?
I know, but I meant along
testing
the
is
same lines.
The testing is the same kind of thing. They know what kind of activities have been happening or in the past in Pittsburgh, and they know what to look for, and they have specific things that they know are hazardous that are likely, if they're going to find them, those are the likely materials they're going to find.
Jay, could you go back to the other map?
Okay.
Pick a
The
map.
outline.
Pick a
The outline
pick a
map? The outline map?
Number
Yeah.
1, 2, or 3?
I brought too many. Got too many maps. That one?
No, the one with the concept of what this
Oh, the
might look
concept?
like.
Sure.
So I understand we're gonna test sites on easements. And if we find something, that would be on, what is the name of the place, Mission Clay to clean up?
Not necessarily. That'll have to be determined by the EPA and by KDH&E. But
Okay.
it's an indicator that there's material that might be on Mission Clay sites.
So if there is some on the easements, before all this map of what the concept is, you still you have to do more testing in this whole area, wouldn't you?
We will. We will have to do more testing in the area for sure. And I've already been working with the EPA to get more money to do a more thorough and complete test. There's also going to have to be a remediation plan that's done. In other words, once you've fully tested it, then you have to decide what you're going to do with it, all right? And the remediation plan will be put forward. And then there'll have to be an actual cleanup plan for that as well.
So what you're looking for is runoff from the Mission Clay plant over the years. Was there something there before Mission Clay?
Yes, there were lead smelters there
There
before.
were lead smelters. So we're expecting to find lead.
That's certainly one of the materials.
Lead and zinc, most likely.
Yes, and the current operation involves a byproduct of mercury.
Mercury, okay.
Is any of that area undermined or?
Not that we can tell, all right?
It is.
There was definitely areas that were dug out in that area for sure. And there was an underground little railroad that they used to move clay from the other, you can't quite see it there, another site where they brought clay to Mission Clay to do the clay pipes.
That came across Rouse, wasn't it, at,
It did.
what, Tanglewoods? That's where
Yeah,
the clay came.
Tanglewood was actually a clay mining pit
Right.
one time.
So going back to several years back, when they tested all these different sites in town, did they test this area too? Because of the smelters that
They-
were there in the past?
They did, and they did find hazardous materials there, and they wanted, so the EPA was going to do a more thorough test of the entire site, but Mission Clay shut them down. Right.
Because if you see pictures of the past, of what it looked like with the big stacks, and there was pits out there, and you can't see them anymore.
They've
So-
been filled in,
And there is undermining out there, especially on that East Washington
yes.
through there, and on that Park Street that's showing there.
So there's a lot of unknowns, and that's one of the, we're making headway in identifying what's out there.
Okay,
So after this process of testing, then you said remake the plan to remedy the problem.
Really, I guess to answer your question, yes. The next step is to complete the testing, and then a remediation plan,
Right.
and then a cleanup of that property. So
How
it's-
long are we talking about this time frame?
it depends on whether or not we can access the Mission Clay property. If we can access the Mission Clay property, we can work with the EPA and KDH&E to speed this up.
So if Mission Clay was to sell that property to somebody else, they'd have to do the same thing we're doing. They'd have to go through the process of testing it and cleaning it up.
Yes, if they plan on using it, yes. So you can't use the property, it would be hazardous to use the property without fully testing.
Right.
okay, Stu, Don, Doc, any more questions? All right, so
Are we
you
approving?
need a motion to approve? By
So-
Don?
So moved, Tom.
Second,
Either way.
motion by Don, seconded by Stu. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes. Thank you, Jay. All right, non-agenda reports and requests. Darren, do you have anything?
No, ma'am.
All right, I would like to go back to Tom Westoff back here. Matt, if you could help us out on this one. Because no matter where you put barricades ever, people are gonna find a way around them or cutting through. So where's the barricades on the furthest east point on
So on Kings Highway, or on Queens
Five-
Highway, sorry.
540?
Give me a minute here, we'll get turned around and go in the right direction. So there is a digital billboard, out closer to the burn site before 240th and Free Kings, alerting motorists to the Quincy is closed ahead. Then you get at Free Kings, there is another, 2 barricades blocking that with the local traffic only. And then you get up to Benner Terrace, there's 2 more right there. Now, all these barricades are offset because I can't just permanently close anything because no one can get in or out. So, and then there's another set up at Franklin, closer to Franklin. And then there is a set on Franklin itself as well. And then obviously Quincy itself.
So the
But
ones-
we do start clear on the other side of 240th before you are able to turn at 240th to go back either towards Centennial, and then you're alerted again at Free Kings to make that turn off.
Okay, so what he's talking about is that probably the barricade at Free Kings and 540, which is Quincy,
Correct.
they are hopping over to Porter Lane, going through Deer Run, and going around.
No.
And
What
then
he's
coming
talking,
through
what he's
Bitter
talking
Terrace.
about, no, what he's talking about is no one's barricades don't apply to me, which is the same problem we have on Free Kings today. You've seen how we had that barricaded off
Well,
today,
what
and
they're
we
doing
still
is
had people
coming
driving
down-
up on
Coming
us.
down Quincy, going off on Franklin.
Yeah.
And then going all the way around and coming back out.
They're
on-
going down to Bittner and then coming around through Bittner onto Imperial and exiting onto Rouse, or vice versa, going the other way.
So
So Dave-
okay, so everyone who lives in like Deer Run and Quincy, and then Bittner Edition, all those people should be coming, I would think, out this way and going through Bittner Terrace and around on Imperial and out onto Rouse. But everyone who's coming in town should use the hospital Centennial Road or 126.
Correct.
But instead of coming this way, so.
Correct.
I know it's just a habit of getting used to going a different way than you're normally used to.
Right.
But is there a way to alleviate, like he said, there's kids in the neighborhood, there's people walking.
It's still a public street.
It's a winding road that they're just trying to get out of it, and they go really fast, and, you know.
I would think that if two things. One, if you get Free King open, then that provides everybody a route to 4th Street, and then you can go wherever you want in town from 4th Street.
Yep.
If you don't get, my next question is, that area between Franklin and Rouse, does that have a priority to be completed
Yes,
before they start anything else?
correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So I noticed there's no detour signs. Does that help? I mean, it says it's closed, but if you're coming in from out of town, where do I go?
Well, that's what we put, you kind of get to the road closed. I mean, I could detour it. I mean, we could try some more detour signs.
But that say detour.
But that actually say detour
Yes.
and just turn the detour.
Yeah, because it says use alternative route, but if you're not.
Yeah, I mean, we put that out as press releases and, I mean, yes, but we could throw some more, we could try some more detours. I would have to take that back to, we just have to stretch that back to Centennial
Right.
and Rouse to start alerting a detour for that part if they were gonna go through Quincy, and the same way clear back to 4th and Rouse as well, and then go, we just gotta increase the bubble
Right.
that much more, if you will.
You know.
I mean, but I can talk to I can talk to our engineer,
Okay.
I can talk to Trans Systems and see if, we can put some more detour signs
Matt, do you think
out farther out around the.
Right.
do you think most of the trouble are people coming off of Hopless Road, 260, I think is what it is?
That's usually, you don't see a lot of, I mean, I'm not gonna speak for what anybody sees in front of their house. But everybody's there every day, we're there moments in time. Historically, Opolis Road, Centennial into the hospital.
Yeah.
That's your main corner, Walmart, neighborhood market, everything that's on that corner. Same way, 126 coming from Highway 43, straight into all the truck traffic, everything like that, actual state highway coming down. Quincy really has nothing, until you get to Quincy and Broadway, you have no real driver to draw, there's no industry, if you're coming from Missouri, you're gonna make your first left on Centennial to go to the hospital, the university, the mall,
Well,
whatever.
I beg to differ with you on that, because
Well, and I'm not, yeah,
most of them will come down Quincy. I've seen, literally in the morning, I live right on Deer Run.
right.
I'll see 20 or 30 cars all at once coming down Quincy. At about 10 minutes of 8, everybody's rushing to get to work from
Yeah,
wherever they're coming from.
and I don't know what's driving that, but, yeah.
And another thing, Matt, when the high school opens up, and we've got
Yeah,
kids
and the
driving,
college, and the
It's
college.
gonna add, and the college.
Are
is gonna
you
add-
talking with Rich Prophet about,
I'm talking to Tom Spurgeon with
Tom
their USD 250, and we've had those conversations for more than a month, and, we've talked, I mean, Brent's been involved, they've all been invited, I mean, we've had numerous conversations around that, of their release, and I think last week, Tom actually did a video with PD, not only about going through Deer Run, Porter, the Quincy project, and it's all closed, but they actually changed to Larry Garman as well, because we changed the direction of that, so USD 250 is also putting out their own, or I guess we are, but USD 250 has worked with, our police department on putting that media release together as well.
We don't see a lot of traffic on Deer Run, hardly anything at all. But only when the high school, and they try to beat their buddies to Quincy.
Right.
But that's closed now, so that.
My
that-
question
Which is the same problem we had in Bittner as well.
Yeah.
Until we put that signal in, and
My
that
question
seemed
is,
to have deterred some of that.
would it be any kind of benefit, I don't know if the county would be agreeable to putting a detour sign at 260th on Quincy? Just even going further back east. If we're seeing that much traffic coming down Quincy, if we put some kind of detour out
You
there.
might put a detour
Yeah, I
right
mean, we
there.
can stretch it clear back out to 260th.
I'm sure that they would work with us on that, but I don't know. I mean, they might be opposed to it for some reason, but it would be maybe worth asking,
Yeah.
if we could do something.
What is the timeline for Quincy to Rouse? I know up to the railroad, it's December. but
December.
Do you have an idea what that painful part is?
Probably split it,
So middle of October?
middle
so.
October or so, potentially. I mean, there's some lane shifts in there and there's some traffic signal stuff, so.
Well, the majority of the cars that Tom is seeing is Missouri cars. Is what you said, right? Yes.
We'll go
but
look
that-
at,
that
we'll go look at a
traffic's-
detour on 260 or posting a road closed ahead or,
Because it's just going to increase when school starts.
Yeah, I mean-
When
yeah.
both the college and the
As long as you
PHS.
leave a gap in the, I mean, the neighbors have to get to their neighborhood, so
Right.
you can't stop
Right.
traffic, and the longer it goes on, they're just gonna drive through it.
Yeah.
And they whip through it real fast. I've gone through it and I was like, what in the, and that was a week ago. But the familiarity with what they can get away with,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and whatever we do, it's gonna be short-term, and they're gonna go where they wanna go.
True.
I mean,
Yeah, I
it's,
mean-
that's not help, that didn't help Tom and his neighbors.
If
but
it'll
that's-
save a minute, they'll go off-road and
And
around.
I know, I've talked, patrol is trying to work through it when they're not doing calls as well, just to try to keep, I've seen some police presence down there, so I've been around, trying to patrol through there as well, and we'll put some more detours up at 260 and see what, I'll talk to the engineer as well, double check some stuff and see if there's some more detour signs that we can put up to try and distract it some more and yeah, it's,
What would progress be like without headaches?
Yeah, exactly, the pain of progress.
Yeah.
I will, since I'm here. So Free Kings, to answer your question, they just tightened up the clamp just a little bit ago, so you should be back in the water. You and Henry should be back
So I
in
can
the
take a
water.
shower tonight?
You should be able to shower tonight. However, it will remain closed overnight, and then hopefully maybe midday or later tomorrow, we will open Free Kings back up.
Okay, great.
But it's a big hole in the road.
It'll make my wife happy.
But they were putting water on it just 10 minutes ago, so, hopefully you'll be able to take care of that. And we'll
That
get
is
Free Kings.
Maybe the best news is the north tower, which has been down, is full of water currently,
Yay,
and we're
finally.
waiting. Matt's got a couple days at maximum until that'll be back, and so the idea that we were getting pretty low on water last week. I don't think we told many people, but there's a lot going on, but they've managed it well. There was one day the crews worked 31 hours in a row from 7 a.m. to 3 the next afternoon. So we have been on it, but it's been a pressure with the heat and all the projects, but I think we're getting through it, and if I had I drove past Tom's house the other day and literally got passed by one of those little minivan looking things. It looked like it was on two wheels. It was going so fast, and I remember coming back and talking to the chief, and we know when school opens, it's gonna be tough, and that may mean some people need to get some tickets or something, but
I would support
all we
that.
can do is stay on it and try to manage it, because there's no answer for somebody plowed through a yard and hit a tree or something worse.
I mean,
because-
even a week ago when we were shutting down Free Kings and we had them backed up to circle back through your neighborhood, and I mean, still, everyone drives around until
Sure.
they're up on you. I mean, it's.
Everyone needs to be vigilant.
But that east part, east of Quincy and Rouse, you're hoping in October?
Maybe, I mean,
May-
that's,
No,
I'm
no,
making
won't hold you to it.
conversation
We're not
with
the
it, yeah.
contractor.
Don't-
Yeah.
Right.
Magic wand.
Yeah, so,
Okay, great.
Very much
but yes, they are
appreciate.
starting from
Yeah,
Franklin.
Thank you.
to come
Thank
down.
I got another question before you leave.
Yep.
How soon is 4th Street Overpass going to be open?
Looks close.
It's close, yeah, I know.
I don't
That's
have,
good.
I mean, that's located, I don't know where they're at on working days, they're getting close, obviously,
moving
they're
along.
backfilling some of that curve, backfilling that sidewalk. They did some of the paving the other day, but I have not. They were doing some punch list walkthrough, I think towards the end of this month, with the contractor that Kyler had told me, so, I mean, but they're, as far as the open fully, go back and stripe and everything, I don't have a date for you on that.
But it's close.
But it's close.
And Matt, it's 3 lanes, 4 lanes, 12 lanes, everybody.
So it will be 2 lanes with a center lane for emergency services to come through, to be able to cut through that. It will also have a 10-foot sidewalk for a walking trail on the side. I can tell you, because we will be asked at some point in time, there are currently no lights on. We are working with a contractor because that was not included in the KDOT project, so that's on the city to, they've put the anchor bolts and some conduit in there, but it's
Kinda
on us to.
weird, going up, it's in the dark.
It's a long story, but
Yeah.
before, you might as well know
Okay.
now, so, we are working through that to get.
It will be lit.
To get it lit up, but anyways. But yeah, it's gonna happen.
It's soon.
Thanks.
I have one last thing.
Yep.
Your crews are awesome. They're working round the clock to keep everything going. All different departments pitching in. We very much appreciate their dedication and their long hours when everybody's asleep and they're out there busting their butts and trying to get everything going back on. Tell them, pass it along. I want them all to know how much we appreciate them.
Oh, yeah, I will. There's some good staff,
We're very fortunate.
so, yep.
Thank you so much.
Okay, have a
Darren,
good
I have
evening.
a question regarding the water. I know, it's just a statement. I know several years ago, when I was working at the city, we went through something similar to this. We had a lot of water main breaks.
2011 was terrible.
Yeah.
Before my time, but
He's
it was
still
terrible.
twitching.
We have people driving around trying to find the water main leaks because our towers are going down. They end up finding one, I think it was on Atkinson, Matt, did you say you was there then?
No.
And it was a water line main or something that went through the creek, it was going into the creek, so it's hard to find, but our city workers found it and repaired it. And then my next question, Darren, you talked about, our tower going down, of course, naturally, you got a tower that's, closed for maintenance, you know, so we ain't got one tower. Did we ever get close to, maybe having to conserve water to the public, or we wasn't at that stage?
No, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 reservoirs, basically. We do a good job of planning, but the south tower being down to 1.5 feet sounds bad. It felt bad last week. They had filled the downtown reservoir. There was the little 750,000 gallon tank out at the industrial park had water in it. But there was no north tower, so we were never close to a boil order. The beauty of our system and where we live in Kansas is we have enough water underground that we can pump a ferocious amount of water. And so we talked to the guy that runs the water plant for us, and he calmly told us, I've been through this before. We'll have enough water. Don't worry about it. But if you're not in there every day looking at those numbers, it's like when you hear 0.2 feet and one of the towers and the other tower's covered in paint, the fresh paint that doesn't even have water in it, and it's 105 out. We definitely, I know Matt drafted a public service, and just in case we had to say don't water, but, we're pretty proud of our system, we're pretty proud of our staff, and
Sure.
the fact that, I'm not saying a catastrophe couldn't happen, and we could go to a boil order. Joplin was in a boil order a couple of months ago. It can happen, but, I don't think we were close, Commissioner. I think we've, got a great staff, and they've been around. And they calmly told me, we've got this, don't worry about it, and I believed them, and we didn't put out a presser, and here we are a week later, and the North Tower's on. So good question, but
It was a little nerve wracking there for a little bit, but we pumped a lot of water, but we were able to keep up. I don't know if anybody, we never got any calls on pressure drops, or, it was really
That's the whole
that
thing
backup
about-
capacity was a little nerve wracking, but.
Isn't that what the tower is for, to maintain the pressure of the
Yeah,
water?
it gives us that backup capacity and some firefighting, and we kept the downtown,
Right,
stayed there, but it just, all right.
right.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thanks,
thank
Matt.
you. All right, anybody have anything else?
One other thing.
Yes, Doc?
I just, about a month ago or so, we talked about doing something with the cars on the sidewalks, et cetera, the infractions and stuff. Well, our wonderful police department came up with this, which is really kind of neat. And what it is, it's a parking violation warning. It's a warning order that if you're in violation of a handicap zone, or you have an invalid license plate or parking zone, or you're next to a fire hydrant, or you're blocking your driveway or road access, or inoperable disabled vehicle, sidewalks, etc., they will put one of these on your car. It has a sticky back, and on it has the date, time, the location, and the officer who issues it, your license plate, your state, your ordinance, the driver's name if it's known, the vehicle make, model, and color. So you can be easily identified, and I think the public should know there won't be, as far as I understand, there won't be a second one put on your car. You'll just get a ticket is what it comes down to, and it'll be turned into the sheriff or the, up here?
City court.
Yes.
Oh, city court.
You'll
The
be,
court here.
yeah.
So,
you'll be issuing.
we're making every effort we can to try to clear up those problems, and the police department has been working with the commission to do it, and we appreciate it.
Yes, thank you, Brad.
Thank you very much.
All right. Oh, yes, Matt?
Hey, one more thing. Make sure to leave your kitchen faucet open for those that have been without water today.
What's
Leave your
that?
kitchen faucet open because it's gonna have some air in it.
Sediment will be in it.
There'll
Yeah.
be air.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I
No,
know.
there'll be air in the line.
Just as we've been talking about,
And
make
you're
sure to
talking
leave your
about
kitchen
air in the
faucet till it
lights.
clears up and,
Yeah.
and we get the air out of the line, so.
It'll
Well,
sputter.
just for you all, joking, when I moved to California a number of years ago from Germany, they were on strict water rationing, and there were signs on everybody's car that said, if it's yellow, let it mellow, if it's brown, flush it down. Well, I hope we never come to that.
All right. All right, so if we're done with everything, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Moved by Don,
Second.
second by Ron. Everybody want to stay another hour? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.
Good job, Sharon.